Ohmster. Apologies for the delays. We're a few minutes late here, but we're going to get started right away. As I'm pulling up the replay here, I figured I would just quickly lay out my plan. As it is a replay cast, we won't have the privilege of going through the draft phase, but at the beginning of the game, we'll leave it paused for a moment, and I'll quickly go over my impressions of the draft, which, as a Silver 3, I'm sure you'll be fascinated to hear my deep insights. So, pardon me a moment. So looking forward to seeing what these teams have to offer us. Should be an exciting set. And we'll be bringing you into game right away here. As I'm sure you can hear, we need to prepare ourselves for battles. So we'll switch to the in-game stream. So the blue team drafted Garrosh for Tank Blaze for offlane, and then Chromie Vala Brightwing. Pretty standard draft and strong on this map. Chromie, Blaze, and Vala, all really good at taking care of Shrine minions. And Garrosh, if he goes Decimate, also can help out with that while zoning the enemy team. Depending on what Vala goes into, and we'll see as the game goes, W build can be really strong on this map. Q build can be really strong if you're defending. So just a lot of great options. And Brightwing is just a generally good healer. She tends to work well with Garrosh, who likes to have, who doesn't need the big burst heals because his armor goes up as his hit points go down. So a decent, solid draft out of our blue team here, ReGen DeGens. On the red side, we're going to have Sylvanas, Junkrat, Malthael, Anduin, and Stitches. So excellent, excellent wave clear. Not the highest amount of burst for a Stitches hook, but if the Anduin can hit the root, there's a decent chance that Junkrat can get the bomb and pop them into a bad spot. Sylvanas' damage can stack up very quickly. They are also really good at clearing the Shrine minions, and Malthael can help pretty well with that as well. Stitches doesn't offer quite as much zoning space as Garrosh does, but if you can get a pick before the Shrine starts, you can often get ahead that way. So two different approaches to approaching Shrines and approaching fights, but both entirely viable. With that, let's get our game started. On the blue side, here in Div D of NGS, we have ReGen DeGens. Taco is playing Garrosh, Velaravia is playing Brightwing, Meow Meow Cat's on Vala, Syl playing Chromie, and Prostman Pat playing Blaze. On the red side, the team is Dragon Gall Z. Autumn plays Sylvanas, X plays Junkrat, Porthos on Malthael, Moogle playing Anduin, and Stitches is played by Soul Nova. So ReGen DeGens is immediately going for the 1-3-1, so they're not really going to want to brawl here early. Not a lot of sense in taking damage with really no chance of getting a kill. The kind of wave soak mage at the bottom becoming fairly standard in larger maps without a excuse me, without another tank or you know, another kind of offlaner or global. So Garrosh gets grabbed, but not a lot of damage there. He manages to flip the Junkrat. Junkrat does a lot of damage when he's down. He gets hit by that Q, and he is dead. Vala going auto attack build, and she's got 3 stacks, but an excellent Q there. And even with the bomb, Junkrat has exploded early. Looking at early talents, Chromie's gone for Vision. Decently strong against a comp with the Stitches. That likes to hook from blind. We've got overwhelming affliction, so percent health damage on Sylvanas, which makes sense up against a Garrosh. On a Pale Horse for double soaking, we've got bomb build and trap build. Oh, but here we've got Garrosh trying to disrupt the rotation, but he's all alone. Can anyone get there in time to help him, or is Taco going to go down? No, Garrosh's tankiness is just enough. Blaze looking to cause enough of a distraction that it's guaranteed, but nobody goes down, but Taco's health gets taxed pretty hard for taking a look into this, but she's going to do it again. He throws Anduin, but again, nobody's here to support him, and so he's more being a pain in the butt than he is starting kills. Chromie is going to take this camp as their Dragon Gall Z takes their camp. And bot camp was already taken by ReGen DeGens, so they've got a little bit of a lead here, both in experience and in lane prio. Blaze actually winning the duel with Malthael, which can be tricky to do on a Blaze, so well done, Prosman Pat. At least as an offlane player myself, I often struggle with that matchup as a Blaze, so well done. Stitch is flipped into the team, but it's actually Taco taking a lot more damage. He gets displaced, he's taking a lot of damage, and he goes down! The Brightwing healing can't come in soon enough, and Taco is dead. Sylve splits off to the bottom, and it's camp versus camp as both teams take a moment and take a breath. Nothing particularly unusual in terms of talents. Brightwing hasn't chosen her for yet, but not particularly necessary yet. First shrine will be on the top side here. It's going to be an arcane shrine. I think it said, and I hovered it. Yep. Malthael taking the bruiser, but Brightwing goes down in the mid lane. I'm guessing that was a good hook. And again, Garrosh was just coming back, so Dragon Gall Z just used their numbers advantage. And now they're trying to gank the Blaze. Stitches attempts to body block, but without hard CC, he's not really able to make it stick. Junkrat's still clearing bottom. Looks like Gall and Chromie are going to come up now that they've created wave prio in mid. And we're looking at our first shrine. Now, ReGen DeGens does have to clear this bruiser camp, or at least they want to. They don't want a bunch of damage, because if they lose the shrine, then the gate might already be down from this bruiser camp. So, 7 to... Oh, there's a flip and a knock-up on the Stitches. But again, Taco taking a lot of damage already. Brightwing turn's going to end again. It's too late. Prosman Pat taking a ton of damage, knocked away, but he is very low, and he's not going to be back in. In fact, Malthael's still chasing. And that's going to give Red Team unfettered access to the shrine. So well done. Again, it seems Taco going in and getting these flips, his team is less ready to respond than the red team. The red team is just immediately responding to Stitches being flipped in and blowing up the Garrosh. Malthael going mid to push back the lane prio. ReGen DeGens taking their bruiser camp, giving them a little bit of pushback, but it's 37, 38, 39, and that is an arcane Punisher. Lucky it's not a frozen Punisher for the ReGen DeGens. So the camp is going to do a little bit here, but ReGen DeGens are preparing to defend. Now, this Punisher has not yet jumped, so the first person he sees, he's probably, yeah, but it's right on Chromie. Not able to pop the time trap in time. She takes half her health and has to back off. And Sylvanas' black arrows are actually causing a real issue with this gate. It's not getting any extra damage. Once again, the flip and the polymorph, but Stitches manages to walk out safely again. But the Punisher goes down, and that seems like it's it for the push at this time. Both offliners respecting each other, but Blaze leaves, and Malthael takes his opportunity to take the bottom camp. So early on, it was ReGen DeGens having a little more map control, but with that win, it seems like... Oh, Stitches flipped in again, and now he doesn't have his team to do a bunch of damage. Junkrat goes down in the back, and they're still being chased. Blaze comes up to trap this Stitches. He gets knocked up, and he is going to die. And that is it. He's down. So they traded a camp for 2 people's lives, and to be honest with you, not sure that was worth it. Because blue team is going to come in and steal Dragon Gall Z's camp. And with the Chromie there, still hitting those Dragon Breaths, it goes down quickly. Stitches stacking his E talent using Devour. Chromie yet to pick her ultimate. Honestly, both of them can be effective here with a squishy backline and even a squishy Malthael. Rewind can be very strong. But with Leap, it can sometimes be a little bigger, and it also means slowing Sands isn't going to be as strong either. But lots of choke points on this map, and especially fighting over shrines. Another flip on... Oh! The excellent pull there, but they do have the time on Stitches. They're hitting him again. He's taking a lot of damage. Taco is very low again. And it seems like both teams are going to walk out of this with nobody dying. So the temporal loop was used after the flip, and it did get a lot of damage on Stitches, but it still wasn't enough. But as the Vala stacks up, and that's a flip on Malthael, he goes down fast. But he puts last rites, but it's not enough to kill the Garrosh. The Riptire comes out and does about half of Chromie's health. Vala goes down, and so does... Oh my goodness, that must have been an excellent hook. I apologize for missing that one. You fret you subbed in this match? So, both teams doing really good things. Garrosh doing exactly what he needs to do to get his team leads and flips, but some good hooks by Stitches seems to have gotten some kills on ReGen DeGens. Chromie is top. So we got Rain of Vengeance, Decimate, Blink Heal, Bunker, and Temporal Loop. We already knew Mind Control instead of the Wailing Arrow. Riptire, Last Rites, Holy Word Salvation instead of the Light Bomb. Now granted, there's not really anyone you might Light Bomb outside of Malthael. And Gorge, so the ordinary Stitches. Both teams just clearing mid lane for the moment, as Malthael takes the Bruiser camp. And this is going to provide more pressure. ReGen DeGens doesn't have a Bruiser camp to respond with, so they're going to have to decide whether they want to clear it or whether they want their whole team for the 5-on-5. Taco taking some of the and there's a hook and a Gorge by Stitches and the pull by Anduin. They're going to try to leave, and ReGen DeGens has realized they can't do anything to save their Garrosh. They're just going to try and race down as much of this as they can in the back. Blaze is top, clearing the Bruiser camp, and it's going to be a full invade by the red team here. Now, Chromie might be able to still snipe some off, but they only got 14 in that time, meaning this is probably going to be, outside of a Miracle 3v5, another Punisher. And this time it is the Frozen Punisher, which is going to give more value on buildings, combined with the Sylvanas Dark Arrows, or Black Arrows, is really going to put the pressure, and might even be able to take the fort, considering this gate is halfway down already. ReGen DeGens does take their Bruiser camp, and they're going to come back in. There's the root. Oh, the Mind Control on Blaze, but only Sylva's here to do damage, as Junkrat was clearing the wave. That's a lot of damage on the Stitches. Now, Selnova going down completely. Taco gets blown forward, but the Temporal Loop goes down on Anduin. They're not able to finish him off, but he takes a lot of damage. The Decimate keeps him in place, and even though he hits the root on Meow Meow Cats, that's a 2 for nothing. They still managed to get the Punisher, but they've lost 2 players, and they're probably not going to be able to push very far with this. Although Taco's starting to go very, very low. A good blink heal there by Brightwing, but it's not enough. Good heal by Velaravia, just not enough. And so the Frozen Punisher is here. I think he did just do a leap, so he's probably 5-7 seconds away from another leap. And especially with the lockdown here, this is really difficult. Ball is taking a lot of damage. Oh, she is very, very fortunate that neither Sylvanas or Junkrat were in position to follow up on that. Punisher goes down quickly, only about 5% damage on that mid-keep. Malthael is top. Porthos just trying to make sure his team gets as much experience to keep up as possible. And in fact, red team has a slight experience lead. Our kills are 6-7. And looking at how much damage we have here. And again, Dragon Gall Z is going to try and take this bot camp. 16.3 damage on Junkrat. 14.6, 13.0. We're doing a lot of, but we got another fight going on here. Who cares about damage numbers? We can see damage happening. The Holy Word Salvation goes down. Taco taking a lot of damage. And again, this Malthael is just melting that tanky front line. And again, it seems like Taco is going to be left behind. The Riptire comes out, does a lot of damage, but again, and Porthos pops the last rites just to get that additional stack on his ultimate. And in fact, that's his first stack on this ultimate. Blaze, on the other hand, pushing for free at the top, but he's not going to get very much as Malthael comes back to answer. Sylv is pushing out the mid lane. And in bot, the 3 remaining members of the 4-man are just farming up their lane. It does seem like Dragon Gall Z is going to be the first one to 16s. And at the moment, they are the ones in control of this game. We've got the unstoppable, inevitable end for Malthael. Gotta trap them all, remorseless. Speed of the Pious. Tempered by Discipline. So the auto attack heals on Vol will be strong. When she hits 16, another big power spikes. Glad you're refreshed. Oops. Hey, El Taquito. I'm pretty sure you're Taco, so your team has left you out to dry on a couple hook gorges, and that was the right call. Your team always leaves you? Well, that's okay. They know you're doing what you need to do, which is be tank. And the Stitches hook into Anduin pull over wall is doesn't really give you a lot of opportunity. Brightwing's making the right choice by not diving in to die with you. A good vision there, but the long range hook. He grabs Taco, but there's a flip there, and he grabs the temporal loop. Does go down, but that's the gorge, the pull, the unstoppable pull that stops the temporal loop, and Taco is now rooted right in front. He's taking a lot of damage, but that armor's going up. Oh, the last right goes down, but Bala was full health, and Malpio's gonna go down for that at the same time that Taco goes down on Garish. Meow Cat's taking a lot of damage, but a good blink heal there by the Brightwing. A lot of Chromie damage on that backline, and Anduin and Junkrat are going to have to back up as Frostman Pat comes down to make sure the wave gets cleared, and also just there as backup if necessary. The Shrine is activating in 16 seconds. Both teams will be missing a hero doing what you need to do, which is die. I mean, die for efficient reasons. Oh, there's the hook on Chromie, but again, the damage not really there to follow up as efficiently as they could, but Stitches just continue to walk in. That Sylvanas damage is quite a bit there, actually. And here comes the stun from Frostman Pat. They completely forgot about him, which gets Sylvanas picked off with a great stun. Their team is backing off, looking to see if they can do a turnaround kill here, but they're not able to. Which, at this time, now puts ReGen DeGens in control of this shrine. Solnova looking for an angle where he can get a good hook. But Taco just waiting in the wings, seeing if he might need to zone. Kill the Taco. Man, we all love to kill a good Taco. Wait, that's not what you're talking about. Just pushing the Junkrat there off at the top. And Malthael takes the Bruiser camp on the top. And there is no keep there anymore, so he can actually push and get some value with this. Now, this is a Mortar Punisher. Not as valuable as some of the others. The hook hits the Punisher instead and gets proc. Oh, but there's a flip on a Solnova and a Temporal. Does Anduin have the pull this time? Yes, and once again he's saved. The Holy Word Salvation goes down as well as they're defending against this. Meowcats takes some Sylvanas damage and manages to get out before she takes too much. The jump onto Junkrat takes a bit of a chunk of health, but not too much. But they are going to get this forward while Blaze is in the top lane. Oh, that's the hook and gorge and pull onto the... But she can just blink across, and so she is alive. That's a lot of resources used. The jump onto the Junkrat, he's at about 10% health, as this Punisher, for some reason, really doesn't like Australians. Punisher finally goes down, but that's even one turn happening. The flip onto the Stitches again. The hook misses. Malthael's here also. That's the stasis on Chromie. And again, just watching... Oh, but... Vala's damage is starting to get really hard here. Oh, and the Mind Control just misses Meowcats as they get out. Wow, I was really confident that was going to connect, actually, and then it stopped just. It grazed Vala's holster, and off it went. So each team is going to take a camp, but blue team with the advantage in that they can take the neutral camp, as Frostman Pat on Blaze takes the camp on their side. So this is still actually... The ReGen DeGens have managed to balance this out fairly well. For a little while there, Dragon Gall Z had a bit of a lead, but they're both one building down. The kills are 9-9. The levels are 18-18. Things are actually very, very balanced. Chromie and Vala doing quite a bit of damage in this game, whereas it's a little more balanced across... Oh, there's the hook on Meowcats. She's rooted, she's gorged, and there's the pull. They're going to try to kill her in behind their gate, and there's not really anything that ReGen DeGens can do. Again, Solnova hasn't hit every hook, but their planning for the hook into Gorge, into Anduin pull, has been excellent. Just really good coordination. Almost every time they do that, somebody dies on ReGen DeGens, and they're really performing it to perfection. So you threw her, yeah. And there's the black arrows on the mid keep. They're just going to go take this down. There's the hook on Velaravia. She manages to blink out again, really being on top of that. The great ultimate choice for up against the Stitches. The bunker comes down, excuse me. They're still down Vala, but they're trying to take the 4v5. The Mind Control comes down on Blaze. Here comes the Riptire, and it does a lot of damage to Velaravia and Syl. The bunker comes out. Taco gets grabbed. He's getting melted in the damage between Syl and Malthael, but the blink heal by Velaravia seems to keep him alive for now, but now maybe it seems Brightwing will go down instead, and she gives her life to save her tank. I think Taco owes Velaravia a beer. Or perhaps a different drink of their choosing. The long hook there. There's the flip by Taco on Parthos, and one of the not very tanky offlaners is Malthael, and he's going to go down, but Meow Meow Cats gets grabbed by the melee Gorge, manages to E out. Oh, a great Rain of Vengeance there as it stuns the enemy team, and she manages to get out without another kill going to Dragon Gall Z. Malthael is peeled off to deal with this Bruiser camp that's been pushing in the top lane. And now that's 2 buildings down for Dragon Gall Z on their side. Although I think one could argue that there's basically 2 buildings down on the side of ReGen DeGens as well, as this keep has a grand total of 400 health. We've got an Arcane Shrine coming up here. Gave her a wedding. That's old news, Taco. Old news. But here, we've got a great stun on, and oh, they go for the knockup, but they don't hit it. But Stitches is taking a ton of damage. Again, the Vala Manticore damage is blowing them up. There's a great stun on 2. Anduin is one of them. He's taking a ton of damage, and he's temporal looped. He's going to die. And now the team is going to chase. Porthos taking a ton of damage. The Vala damage is so much. One more auto, and Porthos goes down as well. A 3-for-0 on the side of ReGen DeGens. 20s coming in on both sides. Sylvanas grabs Dark Lady's Call, which means she can cast her R more frequently than her E, I'm pretty sure. Riptire with the extra oomph, no one can stop death. Light of Stormwind, so the upgrade on Holy Word, Salvation, Master Hooker. We got Deadly Calm, Invisible Friends, Farflight Quiver, which is pretty much the only Vala 20. Stuck in a Loop, and Burn Notice. So, Prossman Pat is the one clearing out in the top here. And he's already at 14, while the rest of ReGen DeGens making a good call here. They're not going to get contested, so they are just taking this fort. Now, it seems like Malthael is not going to use his 20 now to come back immediately, as he's going to wait for the rest of the team to kind of come back and defend. It's going to be more useful if they have a core defense than if he dies at a core defense and has that extra 25% time. The Riptire comes out. You can polymorph Riptire. I learned something today, ladies and gentlemen. Meow Meow Cat takes about half her health and damage, but that'll be healed off by Brightwing before there's ever push. Now, there's a huge wave in the mid lane, and if that isn't answered, they will lose that mid fort. That's not how you get rid of this side thing. So, ReGen DeGens, they are not going to push with this Punisher at the moment. It seems like they'd like to find value somewhere else on the map. Well, this challenges core, and Dragon Gall Z is going to have to answer it. There's the jump. It misses Porthos entirely. Soul Nova looking for a hook over the wall. He gets the Blaze, and that is the Gorge. The Mind Control on Taco. Not necessarily the first one you want to hit, but Porthos drops the bunker, manages to stay alive, the stun, and then the jump! Now Holy Word Salvation comes out and manages to keep Stitches and Porthos alive, but Porthos is very low. The Riptire comes out and does about half the health of all of the backline of the ReGen DeGens. But here comes Taco and Prossman Pat. The last right comes out, but he's not low enough. He lives on almost no HP. Taco, Mind Control, taking a lot of damage, and he still has so much tankiness. The Stitches goes down to the Vala, and now Meow Meow Cats are just focusing on the core. They're going to just try to end this game, and that is game 1. Your victors, ReGen DeGens, using map pressure and excellent team fighting decisions to finish off Dragon Gall Z. 1-0 Dragon Gall Z. Or, sorry, ReGen DeGens. Oh, so our next map is going to be Brax's Holdout. Give me a moment while I switch replays here. A very exciting game 1. Again, very even right up until the last little bit. A couple excellent team fights. And I think even for people who are used to the Garrosh's tankiness, just really fantastic how long he can live, even with a healer who doesn't have the big burst heals like Brightwing. And I think there was a couple of times in those end fights where he just managed to get in the faces of Dragon Gall Z, and their damage really struggled to to get past him. Now, a couple times Riptide did excellent damage, but there just wasn't an opportunity to follow that up because Garrosh was in there eating the Sylve damage, eating the Malthael and the Junkrat damage. So just excellent work. And it's a little hard at the end of the game for those hooks to get as much value, unfortunately. So I'm just opening this VOD or the replay for Game 2 on Brax's Holdout. So let me get this under control here. There we go. Let's pull our lovely viewers in game here. And again, at the beginning, we will unpause, and then we will do a quick go-over of the drafts on each team. ReGen DeGens this time drafting Johanna, Brightwing, Azmodan, Junkrat, and Leoric. So, to me, and again, not an expert, but it looks like a big wave clear team. Just looking for big prio. Junkrat, Azmodan, not the greatest team fighters in the world. They're decent in small quarters, where a lot of the fights on the small points of this map are. But more just keeping wave prio going constantly. Brightwing can also teleport to the Leoric to help him have like really good clear. Now, Blaze can match Leoric in wave clear, but he's definitely not faster. So, this is a team that will just always keep the waves going forward. And again, Taco on a tank that can kind of just live forever, eat a lot of skill shots, and keep the team alive, which is really what Asmo and Junkrat need. They really need people not jumping up and down on them. So again, a really solid draft that focuses, at least in my mind, focuses on making it hard for the other team to ever have a good push. Even if the Zerg wave comes, Asmo and Junkrat, Leoric can clear that pretty quickly. And on our red team, we've got Raynor, Blaze, Tassadar, Malfurion, and Mal'Ganis. Mal'Ganis, an interesting choice that we don't see a whole lot of, but an extremely disruptive tank. Can be very frustrating for characters like Brightwing and Azmodan. Malfurion, just a great all-around AoE healer with the roots really good and helpful on things like the point. Tassadar, Raynor, good balance damage, good wave clear, good camp take. And Blaze, probably the second or third best offlaner still, behind things like Dahaka and Hogger. But still very, very good. Can do a little bit of everything. So both of these teams, really solid drafts. Now let's get into this game. On the blue side, up 1-0 and looking to close this out. It's Taco on Johanna, Velaravia on Brightwing, Meow Meow Cats on Azmodan, Syl on Junkrat, and Prostman Pat on Leoric. On the right, we have Autumn on Raynor, Porthos on Blaze, X-Turex on Tassadar, Moogle on Malfurion, and Sol Nova playing Mal'Ganis. They're down 1-0, and they want to bring this series to 3. Here on Brax's Holdout. So we're seeing, again, the very standard beginning, offlaners to top, bot laners to bot. Let's have a look at our level 1 talents. So we have Flashlight build, Gluttony, which is standard with the Asmo and the 4-man, which is where they should be. Trap build, Ossian Renewal, Ace in the Hole, Stim Pack, Adrenaline Stim Pack, Q build, Emerald Dreams, so the Sleep, which is pretty standard and competitive, and Time to Feed. Again, Taco playing very aggressively into the enemy team, and Mal'Ganis trying to... Sol Nova there for a moment going, do I go for the backline with this third Q, or do I go after Taco? So he chooses to go after Taco. Both sides take a fair amount of damage, but the healers are able to keep this damage from sticking. And it's going to be clearing waves. Both teams actually looking to grab those early orbs, healing orbs. Oh, Sol Nova is very low, and he's going to go down. Gets out of position by Syl's Junkrat and is exploded very quickly. And Mal'Ganis, another tank that if he gets disrupted in his kind of lifesteal abilities, can go down quickly. Already 24 stacks on the Asmo and 10 on the Tassadar. So Autumn has come up to help Blaze take their easy camp. And the beacons have activated. As, what was his name now? the weird guy from StarCraft 2, Stepman, as Stepman announces what's happening here. The sleep on the Azmodan. Again, the team just not quite as coordinated as they were in that Stitches game. Now, with Raynor up here, that is going to give Porthos the momentary advantage. The Prospin Pack collects there. It's contested down here on the bottom. Solnova at about half. And Malfurion does get polymorph, but he's back to normal now. The sleep on Johanna. Blue team has captured both points, so it's ticking up percentage for them. Meow Meow Cast taking a fair amount of damage on that Asmodon. Let's zoom out a little bit here. This is a decent-sized fight. The W by Johanna pulls the team in, and now Raynor's at half health. They're really putting the damage on Taco, but it doesn't seem like Brightwing's having any trouble. Velaravia's Brightwing really showing well in this series so far. And so they're going to keep this progress going. We're up to 76% already, and it seems like at this point, with Malfurion completely I was going to say red team is going to cede these points, but they don't. Prospin Pat misses the W, and you'd think Blaze would actually want to go in at that point, but he doesn't. He just pushes the lane instead, and this is going to be a 100 to 18% push. So Leo, as long as he doesn't get into the banelings, of which there are none at the moment, is actually fine to clear the wave. He has excellent wave clear with his autos and his Q. Mal'Ganis is going to be careful he doesn't take a bunch of baneling hits. These suckers do a lot more damage than I usually am expecting. And so that wall is going to go down almost immediately. Tassadar, excellent wave clear mage. Raynor is a little bit at risk here. There's the jump onto the Johanna again. Taco just standing there happily, doesn't mind. Taco doesn't mind a rest here and there. A good Q there by Tassadar. It gets Taco fairly low, but the Brightwing healing is still coming out. Trap goes on a minion. The Guardians are starting to go down. Leoric manages to take down this wave with only about half the gate going down. And over here, the gate is completely demolished. About 10% on the fort.
I don't mean any offense. I just want to be sure.
Yeah, Stepman's pretty worried about them Zerg. I mean, after he started getting addicted to Terrazine, his life kind of went down the toilet. Don't do drugs, kids. And especially not weird alien drugs that come out of gas vents in the ground. That's bad news. So both teams are going for their camps. Sorry, I know this isn't supposed to be preachy stream, but alien drugs are bad, okay? Both teams are going to take their camps. This camp not up for another 23 seconds. So we're pretty even on levels. Level 7 probably going to come in a little earlier for ReGen DeGens than for their counterparts. Azo doing pretty good damage as a Junkrat. Tassadar also doing good damage, fairly equal. And the kill's only 1-0 early on, as both teams have been a little more conservative than the slightly more brawly game 1. We're seeing quite a different composition this time from our red team. Dragon Gall Z just looking to bring really a different style of composition. And I would say, I guess, from ReGen DeGens as well. Both teams looking to play a little bit differently. Neither team really taking a team fight focused team, but rather a more balanced team. And that's usually good. Now, they're going 2 and 3 split for Dragon Gall Z, but that just means that Taco can go in again. That's what he loves. Here comes Solnova. He puts the backline to sleep. Azmodan and Junkrat asleep, but Tassadar's spells were on cooldown. He was not able to do any damage to our napping backline. Taco takes a lot of damage, and the root goes down on Azmodan. Now they're going to lock him down there with the wall. Oh, but the bomb saves Meow Cats from going to sleep from Solnova's nap time. 7s are in for both teams. Again, we're not seeing anything particularly unusual. Great momentum. Rush. Nano Machine, of course, always very useful. Again, once again, these are up. The beacons. These tasty bacons. Postman takes the top, and again, it's going to be contested here at the bottom. So far, blue is getting their percentage up. Solnova taking a fair amount of damage, and so is Taco. It's being fairly even. Ooh, fair amount of damage on Tassadar here at the back. Still just poking out the Malfurion. Once again, Malfurion's getting fairly low on mana. If this team fight lasts more than another 30 seconds, he's probably going to have to back again. Solnova, Autumn, and Extrax all at half health. But with Taco low, there's not really much that our blue team can do. They kind of have to wait for him to have health to be the block. A lot of damage on Soul over there, and the bomb goes off. He dies to Junkrat. Still showing just as well on Junkrat as they did on Chromie. And in the top, Parthos and Prospman Pat have decided it's a duel to the death. It's time to not copyright strike ourselves. So, bot lane completely in control, as once again, the dead Mal'Ganis means that Malfurion might as well back off for mana. So it's 75% to 36%. Porthos looking to stop the ticking up for ReGen DeGens, but again, Prospman Pat Leo wins that 1v1. 94%. And again, this is one of the few maps where both teams can get whatever they earn with these points. It's not either or. Johanna has to use the falling sword to get out, but they do get the Zerg, and this time it's going to be top lane push. Velaravia takes a lot of damage. These Tassadar Qs with 125 stacks are starting to do a lot of damage. Now, ReGen DeGens do hit 10 first, and 200 stacks on that Asmo, Falling Sword, Blink Heal, Tide of Sin, Riptire, and Entomb. So Meow Meow Cats goes for the more ordinary build, and definitely the more team-fighty build with Tide of Sin. 10s do come in now for Dragon Gall Z. We've got Hyperion, Bunker, Black Hole, Tranquility, and Carrion Swarm. So Mal'Ganis not going with the life-switching ultimate. Taco just tanking this as they try to take the bottom down. Top took about everything of its health. And bot takes a fair amount as well. Soul Nova attempting to do enough to stop this, but just being pushed back, and this is going to go down. Falling Sword comes in there, focusing on that Rainer, but Soul Nova manages to knock back the backline. Taco takes a lot of damage. Brightman coming in, trying to get the heal in time, and she does. The sleep gets them both. Taco still low. The Riptire used just to make some space, but it's 5-0, and Leo gets that top lane fort. Porto's coming down in the hopes that they can get a kill or two to start to even things out, and unfortunately, it just means that they're left with no forts. But they're going to split into 2 and 3 to get their camps again, making sure no one's left alone. We're using the buddy system. And both teams are going to take a breath, have a look at what they can grab on the map, and, you know, try not to die. Number 1 rule in HOTS, try not to die. If HP equals greater than 0, you're still doing fine. Taco going in to have a look, but he's quite outnumbered here. And there is the root and the sleep. Taco taking a lot of damage. He pops his unstoppable. Still taking a lot of damage. Oh, the falling sword saves his life. Now, that did cancel the Brightwing Z, so I don't know if that's on cooldown for 10 seconds or if it's just ready to go again, but it will be available next time there's a fight. Leoric clearing this top lane as Porthos comes back. But it is going to be advantage Leo in this lane now with this Bruiser camp. The beacons are coming up again. Both teams just waiting for an opportunity to win a beacon fight. But Taco says, I'm not waiting! I'm jumping on this Tassadar! The Blind, the Condemn, Soul Nova, annoying the backline as the Black Hole pushes the team so far back that Taco was a bit alone there for a moment. Now, there is no fort here to protect them. Porthos comes in. It's going to be a 5v4, and Taco finally goes down. That's the first kill for Dragon Gall Z. Bruiser Camp is at full health and still pushing as Leo sits on this point to grab it right away, knowing that his team on the bottom will not be able to contest this point immediately. Without Taco, there's not really anyone who wants to stand on a point. All of them can be very quickly CC'd and killed. Oh, a big Q. Extra Xing a lot of damage, and the auto finishes him off. Meow Meow Cats landing exactly what they needed to. Sending Demon Warriors around the corner. Everyone knows Mal'Ganis is terrified of tiny Diablo demons. And he does walk right off the point. Meow Meow Cats standing on the point, but Soul Nova trying to make their life difficult. But now it's a 2v2 in the top lane. Velaravia comes in to save Postman Pat. Down goes the bunker, but Raynor dies. And now they're jumping on the... Or at least Leoric is going to jump on the Blaze. And even with the bunker there, it cannot capture the point. And now, after 52% for Dragon Gall Z, the beacons are in favor of the ReGen DeGens. So again, it seems like red team is content to wait. And the problem I see, I guess, a little bit with their draft is without just an amazing CC. Oh my goodness, what a Q there by Asmonad as the entire team takes so much damage, and here come the Zerg. Asmo scales pretty well. Your Junkrat scales a bit. Raynor scales okay, but it feels like, at the moment at least, Dragon Gall Z is playing not to lose. I can't see off the top of my head. I'm not sure they know what their win condition is. You send Raynor in the offlane to deal with Prosman Pat, and most melee offlaners do not like dealing with a ranged character, but that does take his ability to clear waves here away, although Blaze is no slouch with his oil and fire. Parthos taking a lot of damage. Now he's polymorph. He's taking damage both from Taco and... But now Taco gets CC'd down. Meow Meow Cat's just focusing on the keep. That was a long route on Soul Nova, and the Guardians are going to take it. But the wave... No, the fort kills Raynor, and now Leo is free to say that they do lose a fort, but down a hero, and still with Guardians and one... I forgot what the big guy's called now. The big Zerg boy. Zergy tanky man. With them still in play, Ultralisk, there it is. Pardon my brain hating me when I cast. Everyone is about half health. Oh, what a ult Q by Meow Meow Cats, and that kills the Tassadar. Taco comes in with the falling sword, but the bunker is there, and that keeps them alive. Soul Nova jumping on him. There's a big stun, but there goes the Riptire, and that kills Blaze. Moogle's very low, and Soul Nova. And now Meow Meow Cats is just attacking the core. There's 2 dead for our red team. Now, Leo isn't going to be able to join here. If Soul Nova and Raynor can do enough... Another big Q. Meow Meow has finally finished that off. Now, they don't have 20 to do even more damage to heroes. Oh, that's a lot of damage on Belaravia. And ReGen DeGens is going to have to back off here. They don't have what it takes. They do manage to get the core down to 82%. And again, if they can keep this wave clear lane prio going, there's always going to have to be someone worried about what minions might do to the core here. Belaravia backing for mana as Syl takes the easy camp. And the red team is also going to do their usual split, although now they're just going to go 5 people at a time. They are down 16, and getting invaded and losing more characters would be a nightmare scenario. So they're going to be very patient, move as a group, and blue team, it seems like, is going to do the same. Very entertaining match so far. But here's the invade. Taco jumping in and Belaravia coming in. Belaravia gets rooted. Taco pops his unstoppable. And there goes the black hole. So an ultimate goes down for basically nothing. They didn't have to pay anything except for the Brightwing... what's it called? The Hyperflight? Phase Shift. And it seems like minions are just going to take out the Bruiser camp in the bottom here. And... ReGen DeGens going for the boss. Now, the other team has hit 16. They could try to contest this, but it doesn't seem like they're in position to, and it's going down so fast that they are not going to be able to see or deal with this boss take. Now, it's going to go to the top lane, because that's where there's still a structure. Taco still looking to see if he can incite a fight here, but he gets rooted. The Entomb goes down. But nobody gets caught in it, and both teams will have to disengage for the moment. The beacons do activate in 4 seconds. And blue team is considering going for the end. Red team has all gone top. There's no one to defend. They're looking at the boss, but they're suddenly realizing that ReGen DeGens is just going for the core. They don't need the beacons. The team is backing. Here comes Blaze and Soul Nova. Taco just trying to zone them off. Frostman Pat slapping that with the big Leo autos. Here comes the bunker for Blaze. That's a lot of damage. Taco's taking a lot of damage as Belaravia gets out. Frostman Pat also taking a lot of damage, and Taco goes down. So they do manage to defend on the side of Dragon Gall Z. So an aborted attempt to end the game, but they do get the the core from 82 to 64, so just chipping away at it. And the boss is, well, it's not going to be able to take this keep, but it's going to get it low. As a good clear here from Tassadar and Raynor. Frostman Pat drops the Entomb on Porthos, but there's just not enough damage there to get the kill. Solnova jumps in as well. Villaravia there for the heals. Meow Meow Cat's now here to support with damage. Junkrat jumps to the top and grabs that beacon. Now with Taco dead for 15 more seconds, this is a bit risky. It's a 5v4, a lot of damage on Frostman Pat. He's looking for trait value, but Villaravia won't let him have it. You have to stay alive, Skeleton King. Frostman Pat is fighting Porthos on the top, but Meow Meow Cats is getting jumped on the bottom. And once again, red team has managed to push off the blue team over this beacon. Now, Taco is back alive now. And he's going to be joining. Blade is backed, and that's actually going to make this very dangerous for the red team to stay. A polymorph there on Mal'Ganis. He's taking a lot of damage. So is Frostman Pat. So Mal'Ganis flies away. Moogle has used Tranquility. He still goes down, dunked on by the Azmodan. Here comes the Falling Sword. It knocks up Tassadar. Unstoppable. The pull. The Condemn. And Tassadar is going down. Lei is going to the top. He just wants to stop Zergs from coming and hope his team can defend. But there's not much here to defend. Raynor and Malfurion alone as Taco goes to zone them. And Junkrat and Meow Meow Cats look to finish this game. Shield has to come off first. Taco takes damage. Porthos with a big stun on Villaravia. She goes low. Are they going to be able to kill her? She jumps over Prospect Pat and lives. Out comes the Riptire. A silence! The level 20s come out, and now Porthos taking a lot of damage. He goes down, and Raynor is down to about a quarter of his health. 20s have come in right at the right time for ReGen DeGens to finish this game. They're whacking the core. He's down to 60%. The bomb knocks back Mal'Ganis. 40%, 30%. And it looks like Johanna's going to have enough here. 10%, 5%, 0. And this map goes to